Hey! Paka! Welcome to What Mr. Wheels Thinks. It's episode 1, baby. Let's get it going. First thing we're going to be talking about today, we can't leave it out, of course. The big win my alumni got. KU getting the national championship. Yeah, we were down 16, and we came back. My boy Ochai did his thing, getting MVP of the whole thing. You know, Big D, Big David McCormick, hit 2 big shots at the end. And to start off the whole thing, Tawan Harris, the point guard, was playing great defense, stealing the ball, moving everything. But I want to talk about Mr. March himself, the man that didn't play all year because of a knee injury. But when March came, he told his teammates and coach, I'll be ready. And he was. Not only did he need him in March, but they needed him in the beginning of April too. And that's Mr. Remy Martin. This guy, woo! I loved him. When he came off and he was fully healthy, I could tell. The way he would swarm on defense, moving around, reminded me of like a gnat. Just when he couldn't get the gnat away from you, and I love that. And then he would hit big shots. Nobody's talking about him making 4 big threes in a national championship game off the bench. He's coming off cold, and he hit 4 big ones. Boom, 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 boom. Woo! And then, with a minute and a half left, he's only 6 foot, maybe even shorter than that. He makes a perfect, timely block on a man that's bigger than him. He's going to go to the rim again easy too, and he comes up behind him and just, whap! Smacks it. I loved it. It just set the tempo. It was beautiful. And that was Mr. Marshall. No one's talking about him, but I am. That's what we do here. We're talking about the unknown. The next thing we're going to talk about was the eye of the tiger that I seen in the great one, Tiger Woods. The man was in a horrendous car accident last February of 2021. You know, where he broke both of his legs. You can ask any athlete out there. You can even ask me. I've kind of been there. You break both your legs, that's something it's so hard to come back from. I don't even use them, and it was hard for me to come back. He uses them every day. Golf, you have to use your legs. You got to walk around. And as you seen, when he was in the Masters, he came back to the Masters. As you seen when he came back to the Masters, he had a little limp, a little gimp in his step. I just called it the little pimp walk, you know? A little pimp walk in his step. But it was because of his injury. But he didn't let it stop him. I could see it in his eyes. He had that eye of that tiger again. I loved it. It's just, whew, I like seeing that. It's just resiliency is what I call it. And that man has a lot of, he doesn't need to be there. He's a GOAT already to me. But, you know, he wants more. And I love that about him. So, he didn't do too well. I mean, you're there in the Masters. He made it through the first round. I thought that's good. You know, you're playing against the best in the world. You haven't played in over a year. You did that? I can't take my hat off, but it's off to you, my guy. Good job, Tiger. Next thing. Woo! I've been wanting to talk about this for a little bit. You know, just for a little bit. But it was, woo! I was getting ready to watch the Korean zombie fighter in the UFC on 273, you know, get off. But it was 2 fights before. It was the 3rd fight, not even the co-main event. It was the 3rd fight, the mid-fight on the card. It was Gilbert Burns versus, I want to pronounce his name correctly. It was Gilbert Burns versus, K. Shimav. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced that, but he's 11-0. I tip, you know, again, if I could, tip my hat off to you. Y'all had a brawl. That was a nasty brawl, and I loved it. Y'all went crazy. Looked like someone was going to lose in the first round. Second round comes, you start winning in the second round. They just went back and forth, back and forth. It was amazing. It was a bloodbath, and I loved it. Thank you. Next thing, we're going to talk about know your role. You know, players have to know their role. So, you know, we're going to talk about knowing your role, and it's kind of like, you know, it's sad that we have to talk about it in the professional level, but it's what we have to do. Just going to go down so I can see my notes a little bit more, so I can speak about this more clearly. Knowing your role, you know, the playoffs are here, NBA playoffs, the best time. there is one team in there that everyone thought was going to be there. Not even in a play-in tournament either. People don't know I don't like them, but it's not the reason why I chose to talk about them. It's just I chose to talk about because it kind of shocked me. I was shocked I didn't see them. And that's the Lakers, Lakers are not in a play-in tournament. They had qualified. They were up there. And I kind of blame a little bit of LeBron and the GM. LeBron tried to play the GM role. And, you can get some advice from the players. You can take it in consideration, but you should, never let them have full control of it. And that's kind of what they allow LeBron to do this year by bringing basically all of his friends to the team. And then even at the trade deadline, they didn't make any moves. And it kind of had a lot of people scratching their heads because they weren't doing nothing with all these elderly people. Yeah, I said elderly, not old. Elderly. But I don't put the whole blame on LeBron because when he did play, he did what he was supposed to do on the court. He averaged about 30 points a game and 10 rebounds and close to 8 assists. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do, LeBron. Don't worry about the front office. You can have ideas to take into consideration. So know your role. Coaches coach, players play, managers manage. That's how it's supposed to be. All right? Next time, know your role. Next thing is, it's Wednesday. Well, it's not Wednesday today. But when it is Wednesday, you know what that means. We're going to talk about what I love to still watch wrestling. It's on the shirt. You see, my boys, the Young Bucks. I still love watching wrestling. And the Young Bucks are actually two young kids that like to watch wrestling in the mid-90s like I did. And, they loved it so much. They wanted to keep that swagger going because, like me, I kind of seen it kind of falling down a little bit. When it got to the early 2000s, it wasn't the midnight, it wasn't the attitude era anymore. So these young kids like me, they trained and became wrestlers. And, they tried to get to the big shot, but they didn't want that. So they said they're not going to we're too good to let someone, if you're too good at something and you're good at it, you do it yourself. And that's exactly what these boys did. The Young Bucks, they did that. They started a company on themselves with the co-owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Tony Khan. The son of the owners, they call him Mr. Khan. I don't want to pronounce his name wrong, but they call him Mr. Khan. But his son, Tony Khan, basically just started this wrestling company. And the first 2 years, it's blowing up more than everyone else thought. All the critics thought it wasn't going to work because they can't compete with the other company. And they're competing. They're right there, and I love it. They allow the characters to have free range with their with their moves and their personality. However they want to present the character, they do it. And I love that. It's so awesome. So I want them to continue to do that, and they will. So if you're ever eating dinner and just sitting there on a Wednesday or Friday night, you turn it on TBS or TNT, you can hear the great Jim Ross say, it's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Time to watch some modern day wrestling. That's what that means. 43 days, we didn't think we were going to get baseball at all. Players were not allowed to go talk to any of their manager, any of their coaches. Coaches were not allowed to contact them at all either. It was the longest lockdown in sports history. After the 43 days ended, though, we got it back. And now we're back to it. It's going to be a long season, but the first week, it looks like we have the Rays, the Chicago White Sox, and the Houston Astros leading their divisions in the American League. And in the National League, we got the Astros. Some of y'all don't like that. It's okay, Dodger fans. Then we got the New York Mets, and we got the St. Louis Cardinals. Then we got the Colorado Rockies as well. May not be the same spot at the end of the season, but we'll see if they're still there, if they're still fighting. Hey, we are back. We went to a commercial real fast. Maybe you didn't, but I did. But we're going to talk about the last thing, and it's very special because it's a guest, and the guest is here. It's about the hidden gem I talked about. The independent underground rappers in today's game. They got it hard today, But instead of figuring out what they go through, why don't we just ask one of them? So I invited one of the ones that's coming up. He has listeners all the way in Japan, all the way in India, all the way in Lawrence, Kansas. It was me. But he is thriving. He is getting better. He actually has his own not little, he actually has his own guy that helps him edit his music now. Now it sounds like studio quality. It's the one and the only Lone.Fractal.
Yeah, what's up, bro? What's up, dude? Hey, how you doing,
for
bro?
being here,
How
my
you
God.
doing, bro?
Episode 1, man.
What's up,
We're
dude?
here.
So, what up, guys?
You know, I guess right off the bat, it's kind of like, when did you first start writing, and when did you know it was kind of what you wanted to do?
Well, you see, I started writing like back in 2011. Like, I don't know. I just decided to try to write my own stuff. You know, can I cuss it?
Yes, this is a TVMA rated R. So
Yeah,
no kids.
I was gonna say. Yeah, I started writing my own shit.
Writing his own shit.
In 2011, I decided, wanted to try it out. And I liked it, but I don't know, for some reason, I didn't feel confident in my voice. But, so I just didn't continue writing or recording at all until in 2020.
Nice. So he took about a 9-year hiatus, is what he's trying to say.
Yep.
He grew as a man.
I grew.
And now he is.
But not in stature.
Not in stature, but it's okay. Now, the other question I'm going to ask you, it's what's been going on all over all social media, and people want to know, what does Lone.Fractal mean?
Well, fractal is a never-ending pattern. It's like life, life never ends. Like when we die, our fucking, ashes go into the ground, and the ground, it helps the soil. So, yeah, we never end, I don't know. It's just like metaphorical shit. So, like, support Lone.Fractal, like, a never-ending pattern is part of everything.
A lonely, never-ending pattern.
So I'm kind of trying contradicting myself. Lone.Fractal.
Oh, he's a contradiction.
I'm a contradiction.
He's a contradiction.
I'm a contradiction.
I believe the next question is, what any artist influenced your writings out there?
Oh, many artists. Artists from the UK, from New York, to be honest, like from the UK, Milcavelli, there's Trading, there's Lee Scott, there's Black Josh. From New York, most of them, Biggie, Big Pun, Big L.
The good ones.
The good ones, Jay-Z.
Tupac.
From the West Coast, yes, Tupac, Eazy-E, Ice Cube,
Snoop
Dogg, Huh?
I'm an NDOG.
And Ice-T, all them cats. DMX also, even though he's not West Coast. He's DMX.
And I guess so that kind of answers up to the next question. What genre would your music fall under? Kind of hip-hop, rap, or what would you call it? I want you to tell the people.
Well, it's like underground hip-hop, or also alternative hip-hop, because I rap about other stuff, not just about money or drinking or getting high. I write songs about getting high too, but they're not all about that. Like, I write about everything. I'm still testing out the waters, you know what I mean? Still like trying to find out what people want to hear.
Excuse the dogs in the background. It's okay. They're just our security alarm. They're taking advantage of a bird.
Yep.
And I guess the next question is, what hurdles...
I feel bad for the bird.
It's okay. The bird is okay. What hurdles came up that you did not know that were there as you started to write, as you started to produce, to make... This guy does everything from writing, producing, making his own cover labels. So this guy does everything. But what were some obstacles that came up that you did not know were there until you started doing the work itself?
Well, like, writer's block, like, that shit's hard sometimes, sometimes I just sit there for a few hours trying to think of something. I write maybe 1 or 2 bars, and like, I can't think of anything else.
Bars.
And I'm like, fuck yeah. No, not fuck that. Yeah, I can't think of anything right now. I just think of it later. So I just put it away and like, do other music stuff, like work on my promo stuff. But yeah, the writer's block though is like something.
I get that too as a writer myself. I get that sometimes.
There you go.
You just have to walk away and it'll come back. Last question. What's in the future for Lone.Fractal?
Well, I have a few new singles coming out in the next few months that I made with two other rappers. one from my local town, Paris, California, and another one from the Midwest. And so like, like there's some bangers. So
expanding his outreach. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you one bonus question. I didn't write it down, but it came up in my head. What is the end goal for Lone.Fractal? What do you want out of this?
The end goal of this, the end goal, like, first of all, I want to get known. Like I want people to hear my message, like what I want people to know.
Do you want your music played on the radio?
Maybe some songs.
Maybe some
songs.
songs. Maybe some songs.
Like party songs.
Some of his songs are a little raunchy.
Yeah, they're a little raunchy. Some are a little too political.
Explicit, I guess you would say.
Some of them are, too grimy.
And it's awesome. Any last words to the viewers? What you want to tell your fans, your new fans now? What you want to tell them?
Well, my new song, Reina Especial, is coming out on the 29th of this month.
It's a good one.
29th of this month, Friday. Be sure to pre-save it. It's available to pre-save.
Where can they find you at? On what platforms?
Oh, the link is right here.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
right
gonna be
here.
right
Right
there.
here. Right here.
There. A little
Yeah,
bit there.
just go right here.
Yeah,
all my
right there.
links, same username for everywhere. Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Lone.Fractal.
Nice. Don't sleep on this guy. He's getting better and better. I've heard him from before quarantine, all the way through quarantine, and after, and he has just gotten way better and way better. I am not gassing him because he has been my friend for the last 15 years. I'm gassing him because it is the truth. Because on what Mr. Wheels thinks, we only speak the truth and nothing but the truth. And this was episode 1. And I thank you for watching it. And until next time, be good, be kind. I love y'all. Like the great Xavier Wiss says on his channel, Up, Up, Down, Down. Keep it tight. You know what I say? Rock, chalk, check, hawk. ¡Pacá!
Oye mi reina, me enloqueces la cabeza con esos labios rojos y esa sonrisa de una princesa. Cada mañana yo te deseo en mi